Good morning. Good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, June 6th. Today is day 35 of our AT through hike attempt. Riley just started barking. He's been quiet the whole morning. I wonder if there's somebody coming up the trail. I don't see anybody. So this was our campsite last night. Beautiful campsite. We set up our tent right there where my pack is, and this is like an ideal campsite. Absolutely ideal. Plenty of space to set up the tent, plus the biggest thing is there's grass here, which is very rare for a campsite. So that made lying down on the ground very soft and plush and luxurious, and it was very nice. I got a very comfortable sleep. We're not getting off to a super early start now. I think it's maybe 9 or a little after 9. And my Far Out app, when I checked the mileage where we were at last night, it was kind of oscillating between 455 and 454.9. So I'm going to go with the conservative number of 454.9 for yesterday's mileage. Hey, buddy. It's okay. And so that's where we're starting from today, 454.9. And our goal is to try to get to Damascus today. So that means we have to do about 15.6 miles. So it should be achievable. And then we'll see what we're going to do when we get there. Our default option is that there might be, I mean, this isn't guaranteed, but I think there might be a tenting site it's still in the woods, but very close to town that we could possibly tent at. The reason we'd need to stay overnight is because we're definitely not going to get there before the post office closes, and I definitely want to be able to mail some stuff home. So I'll need to access the post office tomorrow morning. So default option is hopefully there's a campsite like right on the edge of town that we can stay at for free. So we can go into town today when we get there and then just come back to the edge of the woods and not have to backtrack too far. But I'm going to try to call one of the hostels in town that looks like it might be an option and see what their lodging options are and see if that might be a good fit for Riley and I. So we will find out more today, but we're going to get started with the hike. And we will check back in later. Bye for now. All right, Riley and Van Gogh here checking in. So we are taking a break at a shelter, but this is not any typical shelter. This is called the Disused Shelter. I'm gonna secure Riley real quick and then run out to the front and show it. I'm gonna turn my camera off real quick. All right, so this is the direction of trail that we were on, and right over to our right here, this is a little baby shelter, the Disused Shelter. But it's perfectly viable as a shelter. It's just maybe only for one person. The roof is good. The roof will keep out rain, and it's got a nice platform. You could actually have several people sleeping in here, as long as they're okay with hanging their feet over the edge. Or if there was just one person, then, or two people, you could have two people sleep horizontally. Anyway, Riley and I are the only people here right now, so we are taking a break. I was just checking out my AWOL guide to see where we're at. According to my AWOL guide, right here, let's see, we are at McQueen's Knob, which corresponds to the Disused Shelter. Oh, I'm sorry. So McQueen's Knob was 0.1 miles south of here, because it says that the Disused Shelter... Riley is licking my face here. Thank you, Riley. Okay. Yeah, so McQueen's Knob is at 457.3, and then we've come 0.1 mile north to arrive at the disused shelter. Anyway, so we are at mile, according to this, 457.4, which means we are 11.3 miles from Damascus. Very good, very good. So this morning, Riley and I left our campsite and we walked like a mile or 1.1 miles down to Low Gap, US 421. And there was a lady down there with a car named Emoji, and she gave us trail magic. Trail magic. The first time on this hike that I've received trail magic in the traditional sense at a road crossing where a trail angel drives up intending to give out trail magic and just waits for hikers to arrive and then feeds them when they arrive. So there was actually one other hiker down there who had passed Riley and I in the short span that we were hiking in the morning. His name was Sam, and so it was Sam, myself, and Riley, and Emoji. And Emoji had a regular car, but she's like a professional trail angel. She says she does trail magic 4 days a week. She's 72 years old. She's in pretty good shape, it seems. But she just loves doing trail magic. She likes meeting all the hikers, and she basically has her trail angel goodies in the trunk of her car. So she just directs the hikers, like, go check out the trunk, pick out whatever you want. And she says she's been doing this for 5 years, like I guess since 2019. And she's really ironed out her trail angel act down very, very well. So in the trunk of her car, she had bananas and apples and little peanut butter jars and moon pies, and so she basically had like snacks for the immediate gratification, like sweets, and she also had like little trail mix packets. But she also had resupply items, like for longer term. So she had ramen packets that people could take and Nor sides with various flavors, and she had drink mix packets and a whole host of things. So I was able to help myself to initially and then she also had a whole separate container of chips, like various kinds of snack size potato chips, Doritos, Cheetos, Smart Food, popcorn, all that kind of good stuff. So that was awesome. But as you can see from the weather out there, it's all cloudy. And when we got down to the gap, it was the weather was good. And so Riley and I stopped, of course, and I helped myself to some trail magic. And actually, she also had, and as part of her setup, she had tuna packets and salmon packets. And so I picked out a tuna packet to give to Riley as trail magic. And I gave him a meal with the tuna mixed in with his regular dog food, which he ate right up. And she also had dog treats too. So she gave, and Emoji was very fond of Riley. She was very happy to see him. She made the comment that he looks better than almost any dog she's seen on trail, like up to this point after 400 miles, which I appreciated her feedback on that. Anyway, but eventually, like shortly after we got down there, it started raining, and it started raining kind of hard. So at that point, like, it was awesome to get the trail magic, but I started feeling kind of miserable because it was raining. Fortunately, she brought 6 umbrellas with her, like 6 large umbrellas. So she gave me an umbrella, and I was able to use that to put over myself. And there was a picnic table down there. I put Riley's rain jacket on, and Riley was able to kind of get underneath the picnic table to get shelter for himself from the rain. So that worked pretty well.
But the rain persisted for, like, we were probably down there for like 2 hours, and the rain just persisted and persisted, and I was staying mostly dry with the umbrella, but my pants were getting wet, and I was slowly just getting more and more wet. The umbrella was getting saturated, and it was starting to drip through. And I kind of felt trapped there a little bit, not by her, but just by the situation, because I was enjoying the trail magic when the weather was nice, or when the weather wasn't raining. And then it started raining heavily, and I was not moving, and my pack was not totally packed. And so I didn't feel comfortable with continuing on, like starting in the rain. I just wanted to kind of wait it out underneath the umbrella. So I guess I was lucky in a sense that I had the umbrella, but had we continued hiking, it's always easier to deal with the rain when you're moving. It never feels as bad when you're moving as compared to when you're just standing still or you're not moving. So it was awesome to get the trail magic. It sucked to get rained on. It was not pleasurable. But then eventually the rain started to subside. The clouds are still here, but the rain started to reduce to kind of like just a trickle, which is what it's doing now. And I started to get more comfortable with the idea of continuing on, and so we eventually got moving again. And so I feel much better now that we've gotten back into the hiking mode, and so that helped to work our body temperature up. And before we left, she gave me 2 fun-sized Snickers bars, and she gave me 4 little cheese packets, like actual cheese. And I was able to pack out a Pop-Tart and a little bag, or little like individual wrapper-sized container of crackers with some sour cream and chive spread inside. So I've ate both the Snickers bars already, and I ate one of the cheese packets. And I was also able to pack out a packet of salmon. Similar, like, let me show. Not for me, but for Riley. Yeah. So, chicken of the sea, wild Alaskan pink salmon, skinless and boneless, lemon pepper flavor. I'm not sure if that's good for Riley, but it'll be fine. So I'll give this to Riley as a treat at some point. He already had the tuna, so I figure I can save this for later. Anyway, so that was awesome. First trail magic, we've had trail magic before. And it was awesome getting the trail magic in the Ice Weather Spring Shelter in the Smokies when the guys actually just came up to the shelter and started cooking. But yeah, it's also nice to experience it like at a road crossing where the person is like basically unlimited resources almost to provide not unlimited resources, but they've come specially prepared to deal with hungry hikers, and it's really cool to experience it. And fortunately we were able to get moving again, and it seems like we're still on target to get to Damascus today, so that's good. And this was actually a good time to get to the shelter because I was just starting to feel like I was getting warm enough to take my rain jacket off and put it back in my bag. The other thing that she did is, so she had these large umbrellas which she let me use, but then she said, I have a smaller umbrella, why don't you just take this while you hike, just in case it starts raining again? And I was initially hesitant to take it because it seemed like I felt comfortable enough that it wasn't going to rain again. But she kind of insisted. She was like, no, take it. When you get to Damascus, you can just leave it there if you don't want to take it on, but it might help for the time you need between here and Damascus in case it starts raining again. So this is definitely heavier than what I would consider taking on a through hike journey, But since she insisted, and also just given the possibility that it might come in handy during this period of precipitation that we're having, I agreed to take it with me, and I'll probably just leave it somewhere in Damascus when we get there. But yes, it was great to experience the trail magic. Her name was Emoji, and we actually were able to talk for a while, and she told me about her background and asked me about my background, so I enjoyed talking with her. And that's an update on our day. So we're gonna keep going pretty soon, and we will check in later, and I will keep my fingers crossed that the rain continues to hold off here, which I think it will. I'm not too worried about it. So bye for now. Oh my goodness, Riley, slow down, buddy. Riley, slow down. Okay, quick update here. Riley is tugging. I've had him behind me for most of the, like, pretty much all the time we've been hiking, and I just let him get in front of me. And oh my goodness, I cannot let him continue. All right, he's behind me now. Okay, so it is evening now, and the sun has come out. The sun came out a while ago. We have blue skies now, so I was thinking, Riley, oh my goodness. Okay, so I was thinking about that saying, all good things must come to an end. Well, I was thinking about it from the flip side, that I guess all bad things come to an end eventually, hopefully. So in the sense of today, I was thoroughly excited and enjoyed the trail magic, but I was also miserable in the process while I was sitting there in the pouring rain underneath the umbrella. And that is all past at this point. So I am fully dry. I have my rain gear off. My orange shirt has dried out. My pants. Riley, no. My pants are mostly dried out with the exception of the bottoms, which doesn't really bother me that much. Riley is just go. He hasn't asked to take any breaks today. I'm sure it's helped that it's been cool the entire day. And also, the last official shelter that we passed was Abingdon Gap Shelter. And when we passed that a while back, we had officially 9.9 miles until Damascus. And there was a couple, guy and a girl, that left the shelter just before us. And I intentionally waited before continuing so that they could get ahead of us. And Riley wouldn't be too tempted to chase after them. And it's certainly possible that Riley senses them ahead. I'm not sure. I haven't seen them at all since they got ahead, but Riley just wants to go. So anyway, that's an update on the day. The hiking has been very pleasant for the most part. We have these uphills every now and then, but it's not significant. The majority of the hiking has been just on flat terrain, and certainly not rocky terrain. And I remember when I first hiked this section in 2017, and I mean the section from Boots Off Hostel to Damascus. I think I did it in 2 days. And on the second day, on the first day I made it to Iron Mountain Shelter. And on the second day I hiked from Iron Mountain Shelter, which I passed yesterday, all the way into Damascus. And that I believe was 26 miles. And I was like pretty excited for myself to have done such a big day. I think that was definitely the biggest day I had done so far on the trail back in 2017. And a big part of the reason why I was able to do that many miles is because the terrain is so friendly. So, I remember that this terrain is friendly, and it's definitely made the hiking easier on me this year as well. Still carrying this umbrella. Fortunately, I haven't needed it. The rain has held off, obviously, as I said earlier, and it's turned into a nice day. I'm not sure what time it is. It's probably approaching 7 o'clock, but we're gonna get to Damascus one way or another. It might be dark by the time we get there, but we'll get there, and we might just set up a campsite or look for a campsite like very close to the entrance into Damascus, instead of trying to find a hostel to stay at. But I will provide an update as we get closer to the end of the day, what we decide to do. This section of trail is like kind of tricky. The trail itself is like sloped. Usually you're on the mountain that's sloped, but the trail is flat. Okay, this is more what I'm used to, where the trail being pretty level. Back there, the trail itself was sloped, and I felt like it was trying to take me down the mountain. Okay, so that's enough for now. Hope everyone's doing well. Riley and I will check in later. I just wanted to point out that we just passed a really nice campsite here. I'm gonna step on in here and take a closer look. There are just tons of beautiful campsites that we're passing in this section. Like that campsite that we were at last night, I was in love with. It was, I just loved the fact that it had grass, and it was, yeah, it had grass. I really loved that. But like this is an even awesomer campsite. It's even more awesome. Like there's so much land, and there's a grassy section, and nice fireplace, which I don't really care about that much, but it's cool that it's there. But this is just one of, like, there's so many nice campsites that we've been passing. Really nice. Riley is saying we need to continue on. We need to continue on. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue on. Riley, we have a little milestone here, a landmark. It's not the white blaze there. It is Riley. Oh my goodness, there's a nice campsite up there, but we got a nice sign. We took a break at the campsite just a short while back, and a hiker that I hadn't seen before passed us just as we were getting ready to leave. And he was hiking very fast, so that has motivated me even more. Oh, he knows there's a hiker ahead of us. Anyway, this is what I want to show. All right, so we're entering Mount Rogers National Recreation Area in the Jefferson National Forest. Damascus is 3.5 miles from here, but the cool thing is this is the Tennessee-Virginia state line. Okay, very good. So this deserves a picture, I think, for Riley and I. So I'm gonna set it up and we'll Okay, so you can see the sign, but probably can't read the sign from there. Anyway, that's okay. Come on, Riley. Come on, buddy. Here we go, Riley. Right. Hey, come here, buddy. Good boy. Good boy.
Yeah.
Look. Look at the camera. Hey, look. Look. What's that? Riley, what's that? Riley. All right. Cool. There it is again. All right. 3 states down. We are in the 4th state of Virginia. Come on, buddy. Right now, we are in Virginia. Okay. 3.5 miles to go to Damascus. Van Gogh and Riley back here. So we are descending into Damascus. It's just been a little bit since we crossed the Tennessee-Virginia state line. So we still have a ways to go. It's probably still over 3 miles to get to the town. And I was just thinking about how I made kind of like a big deal of crossing the state line into Virginia. And how it's really just like kind of a made up big deal. I mean, it's certainly nothing wrong with getting excited about crossing into a new state. There's 14 states on the AT, and each state is a significant amount of work. So it makes sense to think of them as milestones and take satisfaction and be proud once you complete each state. But at the same time, it's all just like, I mean, it's mostly a mental thing, because it's not like things are radically different now that we're in Virginia versus when we were in Tennessee. We're still on the trail. We're still out in nature. We're still hiking. And in most respects, things are like exactly the same. The only things, I mean, we're just gradually hiking north, and as a result, the geography is slowly changing, and the climate is changing as we go from south to north, and it is also changing, of course, as we get into different seasons, as we're getting further into summer. So those are things that are changing, but it's really just mental as far as making a big deal out of getting into a new state. And there's nothing wrong with, yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with being happy about it and taking pride in it. But in terms of things that are actually changing, there's not that much that's actually changing. I think the biggest thing that changes from getting from Tennessee to Virginia is that you're no longer in Tennessee, and Tennessee has this thing, which I haven't mentioned before, but they don't have any privies at the shelters, whereas in all the other states, they generally do have privies at the shelters. I don't think it's the case necessarily that they have a privy at every shelter, but I think at the vast majority of shelters in other states, there is a privy, some kind of privy, to make it easier for using the bathroom. But in Tennessee, for some reason, they declined or decided not to build privies, and so that will be an actual change. I actually haven't stayed at a shelter in quite a while. I think the last one I stayed at was, I remember it. I'm just trying to remember the name of it. The name is escaping me, but it was the night where Riley and I crossed the exposed ridge trail
shortly after coming out of Hot Springs, I believe. And we were about 30 miles south of Irwin, and there was a thunderstorm predicted for that night. And by the time I got to the shelter, it had just started to rain. Let me untangle Riley here. Hold up, buddy. Yeah, I don't remember the name offhand of that shelter, but it was a while back. And I specifically stayed at that shelter because I knew that it was about to thunderstorm, and it did. It thunderstormed very hard that night. And so I was very thankful to be in the shelter and out of the rain. But since then, we've just been staying in our tent and enjoying the comfort of tenting and the privacy of tenting. So that's all good. So I haven't really been, I mean, I guess it's nice sometimes to have the availability of a privy during the day. Riley, goodness gracious, he keeps trying to get ahead of me. Anyway, yeah, so privies are now a thing again. But other than that, not much change for crossing into the new state. So just wanted to share those thoughts. Nice peaceful evening here as we're descending into Damascus. Riley is so energetic, keeps trying to get ahead of me. Okay, we will check in a bit. Hello again. So I was just walking on and I was still thinking about the name of that shelter, and it came to my mind. It was called Jerry's Cabin Shelter. That was the last shelter that Riley and I stayed at, and I believe it was at right around the 300 mile mark. And we're now at we're closing in on mile 470. So yeah, it's been a while since we stayed at a shelter. So I just realized that back at the Tennessee-Virginia state line, I had set my trekking poles up against the sign, and I threw the umbrella down on the ground next to the sign, and then I set up my tripod to take a picture of Riley and I. And when I collected everything, I picked up the tripod, got my trekking poles, and I think I forgot to take the umbrella with me because I'm not holding it. So it's got to be sitting back there at the sign. I was planning to just kind of leave it somewhere in town in a hiker box somewhere. But I think it's too far to go back to get. So we are continuing on, and it's definitely a usable item. It's not like just trash. So someone will pick it up and will hopefully find a use for it. But I feel my conscience feels bad about leaving it out in the woods. But it'll be all right. Someone will pick it up. I don't think it makes sense to walk back after we've already been walking for it wouldn't be crazy to walk back, but we've already been walking for 20 minutes. And it's not like, if it were like my phone, of course I would walk back, but it's not something that I need. And it was just a mistake. It was an accident. I didn't intentionally leave it there. So that's what happened. Hopefully someone gets a nice umbrella to use. This is our descent into Damascus. It is dark. I have my weak headlamp out,
which is getting some light, but the batteries need replacing. But we can hear the traffic louder and louder and louder with each footstep. And the trail, hold up, Riley. Riley, hold up, buddy. Riley's getting very excited here. The trail was very easy, actually, for most of the way. But as we're making this final descent, it's getting steeper and rockier. And I find that we need to be more and more careful so we don't lose our footing, especially in the dark. Okay, we'll be there soon. All right, we're making the final descent here. Still on the trail, and there's a home right there, and you see a street light and nice grass, another home right there. And there is definitely no place for us to camp in the woods, so we're gonna need to figure something out here. So at least we're here. At least we're here. White blaze right there. Riley, watch out, buddy.